Hi, Deb Brown and Howard Boggess, my favorite crow historian. Howard, I'm not going to ask your age, but I am going to ask you to share some stories with me from your childhood, if you would.
Well, I'm 82 years old. That, no, I was given my saddle, giving me my first horse by a Crow Indian man who adopted me. Now, in Crow, we adopt people, but that don't mean that you have to go live with them. It just means that you always have a home over there. And but his name was George Washington Hogan. And if you pay attention to Crow names, you'll find a lot of Washingtons, Hogans, Adams.
Okay.
I mean,
historical, yeah.
Yeah. And anyway, old George Washington Hogan gave me my first horse when I was about 5, I guess. And he had adopted me. But when you're in a Crow Indian adoption, it's nothing on paper. It's all from the heart.
Okay.
And anyway, when he adopted me, he had to take me in front of a crowd of people and adopt me. And I can still remember his words. This little old white man, here, he says, I'm going to take him as my sons. I have only daughters. I need a son. And anyway, I got a lot of adopted relatives. And anyway, when he adopted me, that is stronger than a piece of paper. Much stronger than a piece of paper to do it the way that the Indians do it.
They declare it to the tribe, correct?
Yeah, they declare it to everybody.
So, does adoption in that culture, what about your mom, your dad? Were they still in the picture?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, see, that's where it's different.
See, I lived with my parents.
So a lot of people, I would have thought adoption meant something was your parents weren't around, but this is not the case. It's just someone that added you to their family as well. Got it.
He wanted a son, so he adopted a son. And old George got killed, and him and his wife both in a car wreck when I was in the Navy. 1954, 1955, something like that.
So he gave you your first horse.
Yeah, but he gave me 2 horses. And anyway, I started riding the little paint horse right away. And the other horse he gave me, we named her Snip. She was kind of a feisty old girl. And anyway, we had a pretty free life.
Tell me what that means. What does that look like when you say you had a pretty free life? You obviously are educated. I mean, you didn't miss that part.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did. So tell me more about your education then.
Well, me and Tony Bear used to we'd ride our horses over behind the school, tie them up, and walk around to the front door of the school. When the bell rang, we went in the front door and waved at the superintendent and everybody. Went out the back door of the gym. And no, I only went to school about a third of the time. Oh, maybe probably 50%. But no, being old Tony, we'd get on our horses and we'd ride out towards Good Luck. Next day we'd ride out a different direction. Next day we'd go up to the Wolf Mountains. You know, we just went every direction. We do ever coolie.
So a coolie, for those that don't know, tell me what a coolie is, because there are people that don't know what that is. It used to be me, so.
A coolie is just a big, well, I guess it was done, they were made by the glaciers, I guess. And anyway.
It's kind of a path.
Yeah, no, it's
not really a path, but
it's just a valley.
The valley, there's a better word. Because glaciers did come through here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. This whole country was covered in ice at one time. 10,000 years ago.
You know, driving around and I see a lot of coolies, and I think when you go over to Custer's battlefield there, it's totally understandable how they lost when you know the whole story, right?
Yeah.
You want to talk about that just a little bit? The Crow side of things?
Well, I had two relatives in that battle. Battle of the Bighorn. I had two relatives in there. I was related to a man named Yellowface, and I was related to Curly. And old Curly he was the last person to leave the Custer battle. And one of his sisters was married to a white man. And there was 22 people that were recruited at Zorkie, Montana, at the old Indian fort there. There was 22 Indians. 22 Indians and 3 white men. And anyway, they come down and went down to Yellowstone, and then they were kind of separated at that time. But Curly and Yellowface and white man runs him. I can't think of the other ones. But anyway, there was 5 of them that was chosen by Custer. And anyway, Curly was only 16 years old at this time.
Is he the only surviving Crow?
Huh?
Was there more? He survived the battle, correct?
Oh yeah, all of the Crow
All of the
survived.
Crows survived? Okay. And the Crow were on Custer's side, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of people, we weren't taught that in school.
Yeah. No, we were all, Crow was all against the Sioux. But see, these people, they was enlisted into the military. I got 7 or 8 discharge papers from Curly downstairs. And they was always recruited into the military for the duration. For the duration. Yeah. But anyway, but these Crow Indians were recruited into the military, and they was recruited only till the time that a battle began, and then they were to leave, because in the heat of a battle, a soldier is going to shoot an Indian. He doesn't know who they are, what they were, or anything. He's just going to shoot that Indian. So they would always send the Indians away right before the battle got started. But this old scout that was married to my great aunt, she he says to Curly, he says, "You better leave." And Curly was going to stay with him because he was his uncle. And our brother-in-law, actually, he was a brother-in-law. And anyway, Curly said, "No, I'm going to stay with you." And he said, "No, you go around, and then you go down to the mouth of the Little Horn River, and where it runs into the Bighorn River, and you tell them that we're all dead." He knew that there was no chance in the world for them to get out of there. Yeah, you tell them we're all dead. And so Curly, he went around and he met the steamship far west, right there at the mouth of the Bighorn River. And the steamship tied up on the west side of the Little Horn River, and Curly had come in from the east, so he hollered back and forth. And finally they sent a boat over to get him, because it was kind of a high water time. And anyway, they sent a boat over, and he he went aboard the steamship. And the steamship was actually up there for a purpose. There was about 700 people marching up the east side the west side of the Bighorn River. And then he transported all people across by steamship. And then they went up there and they had he went up there and the soldiers, when they marched up, they left Curly at the boat or the steamship, and then when they got up there, they didn't know where to look, and as they was going up, they noticed that there had been a large Indian camp there, and they just kind of guessed that it was the Sioux. And then they got to looking across the river, and there was white things all over, and they couldn't quite figure that out. You know, a spyglass wasn't that great of a glass at that time. And anyway, when they was looking up there, and they could see these white things, and then finally somebody decided that it looked like bodies, and so they sent a group of soldiers up there to scout it out, and that's when they figured out. And then about that time, all those Reno, Benteen were coming up from the south. They had fought the Indians down there for a couple of days, and when they was coming up, then they was coming from the south, and these Indians were coming from the west, crossing the river. Then they seen one another, and then they all went up there together, and they found out all 261 people were
Custer
dead.
was right. We're all dead.
No, it wasn't Custer. It was the white scout who was married to my great aunt.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.